welcome to Flory Models Daily Show. Here we are on Friday the 16th of December 2016 after a very nice day off, I must admit. As I say, got the car service, that went in, no problems at all, it was really nice. Off up into our local city, which is Exeter, a little bit of Christmas shopping, apart from the weather being truly awful. Nice and warm, balmy 13 degrees in December. Nice, but it was raining, so it's not exactly brilliant for the festive effect. But got all the Christmas shopping done, all the bits and pieces that you need to do, you know, beer, alcohol, things like that. Food, we'll do that another time. But generally, very, very good. Now, I left you with this guy that's playing here. Thank you for all the kind feedback on it. Really nice kit. They've changed and tweaked it a little bit. This is the Death Trooper by Bandai, the 112, which is over there, you'll see in a minute. The thing is with it, it's they've just tweaked a few little things with it, like the knees, they slightly kink, which give a more realistic stance. And the way that actually goes together is just a little bit of a tweak. And that is the lovely thing with Bandai, is that with each kit, it's not just a case of, right, they all roughly work the same. They tend to just tweak the design just a little bit. And this guy, he stands so much more natural. The others are all a little bit, you know, two legs straight down and all the rest of it, any type of action figure stand. This guy though, you can slightly rock his hips a little bit more to give him a far more sort of natural sort of stance and things like that. And it's just the way that there's a slight kink now on the knee and things like that. So generally it has been absolutely fantastic, but it was a little bit of fun. Say a couple of hours to go together, beautiful work and all the rest of it. Yes, you could go paint and weather it and everything else like this, but being the Death Trooper, these are supposed to be like the elite bodyguards. And everything else like that. So you're thinking they're probably going to be looking after themselves and be quite posh and all the rest of it. So that's why I elected to leave it with it. Again, the weaponry, the firearms, the usual bits and pieces, absolutely beautiful. I probably will do a few little bits to him. Want to do a little bit of hand painting, a couple of little details, things like that, but we can do that at a later time. Happy to report I've got the others coming in. I had a dispatch note. Now, I didn't think these were actually coming out until next year, but I've actually had a dispatch note from Japan to say they're on their way. So that is the new Sand Trooper. As we know, we've got the big one, 6 Stormtrooper coming in, but also we've got a few of the other little goodies turning up as well. So I've had the dispatch note yesterday. If it arrives in time for Christmas, I'm not too sure. Normally they take around about 5 to 7 days to get here, so it'll be very, very close if they do. But anyway, we'll see. If they don't, obviously we'll look at them in the new year. If they're here before, we'll certainly have a look before. So, as I said, lots of exciting things going on in the forum, but what we're going to do is have a quick little run round and a recap about sort of group builds and SIGs and that, because obviously they're all coming to an end, and then we've obviously got next year's ones as well starting up, so we'll talk about those a little bit later. Now, a couple of things have turned up. First of all, I do have to say, somebody is back with us. Amazingly, that she's made it back in time. Thank you so much to everybody who had her and all the rest of it. Didn't work exactly as the plan, but it was always a big ask, and that was really just to keep her moving all the time, and we needed her to keep going, but she's been away for over 6 months. And she just made it around the States. And when you think about it, you know, okay, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it was going to be a big ask to try and get around the world in, you know, in sort of a year, so to speak. But at that rate, she'd be out there for years and all the rest of it. And there is the chances of her getting lost and all the bits and pieces. But again, what we're going to do is have a look at her probably next week, especially with the live shows and things like that. And then we can see, because you guys have added some beautiful little bits and pieces in here. So we've got various patches, stickers, various things down in there, and all that type of thing. But it is nice to have Flo back. And a big thank you to everybody who donated and everything else, because obviously Flo was going around for charity and all of that. But generally, it is lovely to have her back. She arrived, came back obviously from being out yesterday, and found her in our secure location, and there she was in her box, beautifully done and everything else like that. So thank you to everybody who's had her and getting her back safe and sound, because it's really much appreciated. Little friend of ours, so she'll go back up in her usual spot. The other thing I do have to thank is Reese, who sent me the stars, which is the special tactics and something things. I can't remember what it is. There's a thing to that. As you know, I'm very much into my sort of sci-fi and things like that. So technically it's like the Resident Evil type things. And as a lot of you know, I've got their collection of realistic guns as well. So that's the thing to that one. Anyway, what we have is a complete tip. To be honest, the place, as you can see, is absolutely horrendous. If we pan out a little bit, as you can see, it is the usual chaos that we've got going on down here and all the rest of it. As you see, even the Star Destroyer is lumped off to one side just for the minute and just sat down in here. Okay, so the plan is to get this completely gutted, tidied up for the next hour, get it sorted out, get it cleaned away, everything else like that, because we want to do the review of this guy, Okay, so we're going to get the review done of that this morning because I really want to see what that is like in there. I'm itching to have a look, to be honest. The other thing as well, later on, we're going to be putting a few of these little guys together because we are well behind with that. I haven't had a chance to get around with any of them. Okay, and we need to sort generally everything out just to have a damn good tidy up round here and everything else like that before we can get on some work. Then, once the review's done, I'm going to get that edited and it can be doing its bits and pieces, and then we're going to work out about doing a stand in acrylic for the Star Destroyer. So obviously we've got the big one down there and we have the little one over here. Okay, so we want to get those done and everything else like that. And for you guys who are wondering how I do my photography, no, I don't have a very flash bay and all the rest of it. I have a couple of clamps and a sheet of brown paper, and I literally then poke the camera here and we zoom in a little bit into it and all the rest of it, and we are good to go. So there's nothing flash with the way I do mine at all, okay, and everything else. But as you can see, it is a bit of a tip in here. We really need to get on top of it and get this sorted. So let's get on with it. So a really busy day, and I must admit the stand is completed. So I've been working on this one this afternoon. I'll get it fully edited up to you, and it'll just probably be like a 15-minute thing for you on Monday. But generally it was just to see if this is a proof of concept. Originally it was going to be a lot bigger, to be honest. It was going to be this big, but quite frankly that would have been overshoot for it. There's a couple of little design changes I think we'll make and everything else, but the idea being is this is so it fits this one, and then we're going to make an identical stand to fit the big one. So we're going to do like a 2-foot version of this again, so then the big one can be on it and displayed in the same way. So it's cradling it quite nicely, and I think obviously the big one should be fine with it on something like this. As long as you centre this all up, there we go. That's how it should be, just like that. But generally, as I said, proof of concept seems to work. Everything worked well, polishing it and all the bits and pieces. First time I've worked with 6mm acrylic. It's thick, it's unwieldy, but it can take the weight, and that is the whole point to it. But anyway, so that'll be up with you Monday. I'll get it sorted out for you as we make our way along. So really, quite a busy afternoon. 2 hours on that one. 2 hours of fun, really, just messing around and making a huge mess back there. I'm gonna have to get the Hoover out and have a clean. Anyway, up on the site, we just got to run through because obviously we are getting near the end of the year. Okay, so we've got various things ending and stuff like that. So we just want to talk about it. So we've got the heavy metal SIG, which is going to finish on Christmas Eve. Okay, so literally you've got just over a week on that one. All right, so really it's time to push on, get those finished through. At the moment we've got 60 entries, but we've only actually got 19 finished. Okay, so well worth pushing through with that one. The big one is obviously the Star Wars one. We've got 35 on the go. We've got 6 finished on that, but that's going to run till 31st of December as we're making our way through that one. So that one will be great as well. And then obviously the big group build, which is the big in Japan, which is, I'll just see how many entries we've got there, which has got 278 entries in. We've got 145 finished, so well done to everyone on that. And that is then going to run until, what do we got, to Sunday. So you've literally got 2 days to finish on that, so that needs to push through. So get on with it, guys, quickly, quickly, quickly. So yeah, 18th is going to be Sunday night, so really time to push on, get those finished off, get those reveal photos in, and obviously you'll be entitled then to a medal, probably going to be some sanders, sticker sets, badges, the usual bits and pieces, the goodies that we send out, and then we'll get them off to you in the new year when we've got a little bit more time. So plenty to go on that one. Tomorrow is obviously back to live Saturdays. Me and Steve are going to be working on the Bandai Slave ones and making our way with that and doing Boba Fett. He's just messaged me. He's got the paint colours, the mixes and all the rest of it sorted for that one. So we're going to have a look at that and try and get that one finished as well and push through, because obviously we haven't got much time before New Year and stuff like that. So really I want to get those started. So if you are doing the Star Wars one, as I said, that one's going to run right the way up to New Year's Eve and push through on those. So hopefully I've still got a few things I want to do. We're going to do the U-Wing. It's going to be painted out. I want to do that one as a paint job, and I've got some various bits and pieces still down there as well. I'd like to do the shuttle. We've got another X-Wing down there. We've got various bits and pieces that obviously I want to talk to you guys about and things like that. So really got to push through next week. Really going to get on with those. Going to sort of do one day sort of builds with them and everything else, and obviously the big project as well to go is the AT-AT. So we're going to be painting that as well and making our way through that next week, right the way up to Christmas Eve really. So things like that. So still plenty to come. Tonight, if you want to join me around about, I'm thinking 7:30 would be absolutely fantastic. I'm going to do a full audio check from the studio here, only for around about half an hour, but I'm going to play with different settings and levels and stuff like that. So if you do want to join me on Facebook, if you can be in the forum and can leave me some sort of live feedback to the sound levels, and then what I'm going to do is obviously I'll make notes of everything that we've got, and then hopefully we can sort out some of the sound problems we've had, because it's very difficult, because what Steve hears and me hear is not what you hear. So we don't tend to get the feedback from home until afterwards and stuff like that. So from that point of view, it would be dead handy if you can join me for that one. It'll help me out a lot to be able to say, right, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to up it, we need to go down, and we can use different microphones and different settings. As you know, when we were trying to do it on Tuesday, we had all types of problems again. So I'd like to nail this one down. Again, I have to apologise. It is live. We don't have a team of engineers. I don't have anybody. I don't have a sound engineer or anybody else who's sat here. It's literally me and a keyboard. Okay, so unless I can sort of tie down things before, it's very difficult to do it. But as I said, apologies. I know how frustrating it is. Trust me, it is just as frustrating for me. In fact, it drives me mad 99% of the time. Everything works fine until we start getting in that realm of it. But again, things like echo is not, that's not us, that's the internet and various things like it. So it just tends to be a little bit of a problem like that. Anyway, being Friday, it's time to leave you with your great work. So till tomorrow morning, or unless you're going to join me this evening for a bit of a sound check and a chin wag, I'll catch you all then. So till later, everybody, happy modelling. Take care.
faces prolong the embraces. We were always one toward the breakaway, but we're nearing chances to wake the day.